Bob East. Wrong injection. For a photographer, losing sight in one eye can feel like the ultimate betrayal. How can you take award-winning pictures when you can't see properly? This cruel twist of fate struck Bob East, a passionate photographer who was diagnosed with cancer in his eye. Rather than succumbing to despair over his diagnosis, Bob chose to take a proactive step. He decided to donate his cancerous eye to science, believing it could help advance research. On the day of the surgery at Miami-Jackson Memorial Hospital, the atmosphere was hopeful, as everyone expected a routine procedure. Pop out the bad eye and hand it over to the researchers. Bob would walk away as a man who had lost an eye but gained a sense of purpose. However, things took a tragic turn. Enter the proverbial devil in the detail, hiding in a seemingly innocuous bottle of formaldehyde, the substance typically used to preserve biological specimens. While Bob was being prepped for surgery, a nurse brought in an unmarked vial containing this preservation solution, which was meant for the cancerous eye after its removal. In a horrific mix-up, an anesthetist mistakenly thought the vial contained anesthesia. Without hesitation, he injected the toxic fluid directly into Bob's spine. The results were catastrophic. The corrosive solution traveled directly to Bob's brain, wreaking havoc akin to asking for coffee and instead receiving pure battery acid. Bob never had the chance to react as the damage set in almost immediately. Tragically, within hours, he was declared brain dead. 5 days later, he succumbed to the effects of the toxic injection. Bob East's story is a harrowing reminder of how quickly things can go awry in medical settings, leaving behind a narrative that is far too real for comfort. A tale that could serve as the spine-chilling plot of a medical thriller. Dan Wingard. Surgeon's mistake. In 2018, 45-year-old Dan Wingard from Michigan found himself in a rather unusual and unfortunate situation during a routine medical procedure. He went to a local hospital for a simple gallbladder removal, expecting a straightforward recovery. However, he was about to become part of a medical horror story that would thrust him into the spotlight for malpractice. As Wingard underwent surgery, the surgeon mistakenly cut his bile duct instead of simply removing the gallbladder. This grave error turned what should have been a standard procedure into a nightmare. Instead of feeling light and relieved post-surgery, Dan faced a barrage of complications, including serious digestive issues and the necessity for additional surgeries. Talk about going from gallbladder to gallblasted. The aftermath was no laughing matter. Dan endured extensive medical treatments and a lengthy recovery process. Frustrated and determined to seek justice, he pursued legal action against the hospital and the surgeon responsible for his ordeal. After a lengthy legal battle, the jury sided with Wingard, awarding him a staggering $22.4 million in damages. This significant settlement is enough to make any gallbladder green with envy, highlighting the serious consequences of medical negligence and the importance of accountability in healthcare. Benjamin Houghton. In early 2021, 47-year-old Air Force veteran Benjamin Houghton woke up to painful swelling in his left testicle. This alarming symptom was particularly concerning for him, as he had previously been diagnosed with testicular cancer in 1989 and had undergone chemotherapy treatment. Understanding the gravity of his situation, he sought immediate medical attention. At the hospital, doctors informed Benjamin that the cancerous cells had returned. Unfortunately, this time, chemotherapy wouldn't suffice. To prevent the cancer from spreading further, the decision was made to surgically remove his left testicle. However, things took a bizarre turn in the operating room. In a shocking case of medical error, the surgeon mistakenly removed the wrong testicle, leaving Benjamin with the cancerous one intact. It was as if he had taken his car into the mechanic for a rattling engine, only to have the mechanic remove the wheels instead. When Benjamin awoke and learned of the mix-up, he initially thought it was some sort of prank. The revelation was nothing short of a gut punch, an incredibly distressing and absurd situation to find oneself in. Furious over the egregious error, he filed a lawsuit against the hospital and the surgeon. After a lengthy legal battle, Benjamin settled for $200,000 and received an apology from the doctors involved in his case. Benjamin Houghton's experience serves as a stark reminder of the critical importance of accountability and accuracy in the medical field. Willie King. On a chilly, calm day, February 20th, 1995, 51-year-old Willie King, who had been living with diabetes for 20 years, prepared for a significant medical procedure. The amputation of his right leg at the University Community Hospital in Tampa, Florida. Willie was bracing himself for what he knew would be one of life's harshest realities. However, during the surgery, things took a disastrous turn. As the medical team began the procedure, a clumsy nurse made an alarming mistake. She started to amputate the wrong leg. It wasn't until they were midway through the surgery that the error became apparent. But by then, it was too late. Bones and tendons were already severed, and Willie found himself in a dire situation. His left leg was half removed, and he still had the right leg, the one intended for amputation, intact. This shocking turn of events left Willie crippled, facing a future that was suddenly much more complicated than anticipated. In the face of such malpractice, what's one to do? For Willie, the answer was clear. Turn that bitter experience into action. Determined to seek justice for the grievous error he endured, he chose to take legal action against the hospital. Willie King ultimately filed a lawsuit, seeking $1.15 million in damages for the devastating mistake that had changed his life forever. His story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of precision and accountability in the medical field. Thomas and Nancy Andrew. We've all experienced the frustration of a restaurant mix-up. Maybe you ordered a burger and fries only to receive sushi instead. For Thomas and Nancy Andrew, however, their mix-up was far more consequential and irreversible. The journey began when the couple faced challenges in starting a family. After struggling to conceive naturally, they decided to explore in vitro fertilization, IVF, likening their effort to trying to gain entry into an exclusive club where a VIP pass was required for their eggs and sperm to meet. They headed to a fertility clinic in New York, where they provided the necessary biological materials for the procedure. The hope was simple. The clinic would unite Thomas's sperm with Nancy's eggs, nurture the fertilized embryos, and implant one into Nancy's womb. Fast forward 9 months. After navigating the roller coaster of pregnancy, Nancy finally gave birth. But when they first laid eyes on their child, they were in for a shocking surprise. The baby was black. This revelation was particularly confusing, as Nancy is Hispanic and Thomas is Caucasian. You don't need to be a geneticist to realize something was amiss. Following the initial shock and undoubtedly some awkward discussions, the couple made the decision to undergo DNA testing. 3 tests later confirmed that while Nancy was indeed the biological mother, Thomas's sperm were not the ones that had fertilized Nancy's eggs. Somewhere along the way, the clinic had mixed up the sperm samples, resulting in them bringing home a child with an unknown biological father. Naturally, Thomas and Nancy were devastated. It's not every day that you go to pick up your newborn, only to uncover an astounding surprise. They took legal action against the clinic, suing for an undisclosed amount and ultimately winning their case. However, despite the clinic's colossal error, they still faced the reality of raising a child who, while not completely biologically theirs, was now an inseparable part of their lives. Jessica Santillan. In 2003, 17-year-old Jessica Santillan was diagnosed with restrictive cardiomyopathy, a serious condition that impaired the functioning of her heart and lungs. To survive, she needed a heart transplant, and fortunately, doctors found organ donors to provide the necessary organs. However, this is where a critical mistake was made. In a shocking and unacceptable oversight, the medical team overlooked the most fundamental rule of organ transplantation, ensuring that the donor organs were a proper match for the recipient. They proceeded to transplant an organ that did not match Jessica's blood type into her already compromised body. After the surgery, instead of feeling relief, Jessica's condition rapidly deteriorated. Her health took a nosedive faster than a plane without a pilot. By the time the doctors recognized their grave mistake, her immune system was already mounting a fierce attack on the incompatible organ, akin to trying to fill a diesel engine with water. It simply wouldn't work properly under those conditions. In a desperate attempt to rectify their error, the doctors scheduled a second transplant just 2 weeks later. Tragically, Jessica's body had suffered too much damage from the first transplant, and she passed away shortly thereafter. The hospital faced an outpouring of criticism from Jessica's grieving parents and the public, who were left in disbelief over the glaring negligence in her treatment. They took legal action against the hospital. filing a lawsuit for an undisclosed sum, seeking justice for the tragic loss of their daughter. Jessica Santalon's story serves as a heartbreaking reminder of the critical importance of safety and diligence in medical procedures, particularly in the life and death realm of organ transplantation.
Thanks for watching. I hope you like it. Next video will be coming soon. Bye!